talking video games. Metal Gear Solid or God of War?
Motherfucker. Definitely God of War.
Oh, I expected it to be Metal Gear Solid. Because of Snake's theme and everything. Snake Eater and all.
God, that music. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna reduce it to the music, I mean, Snake Eater is the most Bond song that has not made it into a Bond movie.
Oh.
Incredible song. And one of my favorite games of all time, Snake Eater. I think I've beaten that game like 20 times in a row and still discovered new shit.
I am still in awe by Psycho Mantis and how they handled this boss.
Psycho Mantis is like, I mean, that was the first time that they were absolutely fucking with people on a meta level, and that's just like they didn't just stop at Psycho Mantis. They did that with other stuff as well. I mean, there was this, well, spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 3, but if you haven't played it by now, it's been like almost 20 years. So it's on you. There was this boss called The End. Have you played Metal Gear Solid 3?
Unfortunately, I have not.
Okay. Bad. The boss, The End, he's super old and he's a sniper. Mm-hmm. And the way to beat him is basically a snipe off, where you run around a huge arena, with even different screens and stuff, and you have to find him and shoot him before he shoots you. Mm-hmm. And here's where you could cheat your way out of the game. You have two options aside from the normal boss fight. You can snipe him off right after a cutscene where he gets introduced. And that's hours before the boss fight even.
Oh, interesting.
It's like like right at the beginning of the game, basically. You can snipe him, where he gets wheeled out on a wheelchair because he's just that old, but he still can fight you. And you can snipe him, and if you kill him then, you don't have the boss fight. Or, during the boss fight, you can save the game, go into the PlayStation menu, and fast forward the time. Like if today is the 17th of September, and if I fast forward it to be the end of October and I start the game again, because he dies of old age.
Oh, okay. That's so fucking meta. I love meta things like this.
Anyway, between the two games, why God of War? Because the game, the series is, well, the game is much more, the series is much more consistent. Oh. There were so many duds that came out under the Metal Gear franchise that I didn't even touch, and I wouldn't touch now. And the last game that came out, Metal Gear 5, Phantom Pain, I think it was, I didn't even finish that because it got so annoying with the grinding for resources, and I don't think, like, the gameplay was so much fun, and I think it's the best game gameplay wise in the Metal Gear series. But I didn't even finish it. The story just got unnecessarily convoluted, and the whole thing with it's just an empty space, and you have sporadic placements of these guarded little places, whatever. It was fun, but when it started to get grindy, that's when I just stopped. And that was like 30 hours in, and I don't think I got anywhere.
Oh, well. Dude. Another point on that, from a more meta perspective, I think games that force you to spend extensive amounts of time on things that are not entertaining, I think they have to either be marketed to younger people that still have that time, because I think when you work or have other
real life stuff
to do, I think you simply are not willing to put in the time and effort to I don't know, go into these specific points of interest for hours.
This isn't an RPG. Like with an RPG, you go in and you have like the preconceived notion of I mean, if there's probably going to be a little bit of grinding at least. There's few games that don't have any grinding at all in the RPG genre, and those games are probably the ones that excel on some level. But when you play Metal Gear, you don't expect that you now have to grind for resources and fucking tanks and oil and whatever. Like, that's not why I went into Metal Gear. I went into Metal Gear because it's fun. It's a fun espionage game where you can beat the game in 50 different ways and it's still fun. And that game just did that. Like the gameplay side is incredible. It lets you handle the missions in any way, shape or form that you can imagine. But it completely fucked up the story side, in my opinion. It started out amazingly, but when it started getting grindy, I just lost. God of War, however, never got grindy. It never got repetitive. The gameplay was always fun. Even at their worst, and I'm using worst very loosely, I don't think there's a bad game in that franchise. It was always fun. The first one came out like 2005, and I still remember beating it for the first time. And it's
amazing.
It's fucking brilliant.
I have to say, I played the third part.
Yeah.
I know that you brought me into that, by the way, and that's why I bought it on a whim when it was on sale.
Yeah.
I think the first scene and the intro to the third series is where he's on Gaia and with the Titans.
Yeah, and then you fight Poseidon.
And that is very cinematic.
And it's iconic as fuck.
I think the director, like Barlog, spoke of like 2 words, and it was epic and I think not gory but violent or something. And I was always thinking about why not cinematic. He's even comparing it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and that he drew a lot of attention from that.
Yeah.
And it is like, in my eyes, it conveys the same feelings that a good movie does. Like, for example, the moment in which you see the
Hammer
World Serpent for the
Oh
first time.
yeah, I thought he was talking Marvel. Sorry. Yeah.
And I think I was thoroughly impressed by how they first handled the cutscene with the eye.
When he opens it. Yeah.
And that was like a movie to me.
Yeah.
And then coming back to our initial topic of music and sound and everything, how they managed to pull off the voice and the bass. It really
It fucking resonates in the room. Yes.
felt as huge as it was on the screen, and that was what.
Yeah, the sound design is
deeply
impeccable.
impressed me.
Yeah.
It was
Sound design is impeccable.
Jesus.
And to think, not just that though, I think the reason why they didn't use cinematic is because they've always been cinematic.
yeah. Okay.
Like I can see why you would make that argument. It's super valid, but I think they went even one step beyond just cinematic. I think the goal they achieved was making it cinematic and interactive. And there's like obviously like the whole thing with not having a cut.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is ridiculous. Yeah, I think God of War largely wins, especially because it's also still an ongoing series. Metal Gear at this point is all but dead.
Yeah.
We drifted off of of music and went into video games. If you don't know, we like video games. Who would have thought? 2 dudes in their early 30s enjoy video games. Wow. Do you like Pokemon too?
Maybe.
Yeah, who doesn't? Anyway, I've been Mahmoud.
I've been Phil.
And we hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Indeed. Don't have a dry throat, brother.
Okay, Mimir.
Shut up, head. If I were you counts, so I would have asked for it.
That was a good Kratos voice.
Thank you.